Following on daily from the R. Primadasa Stadium in Colombo, Scott Taylor alongside Cameron Ponsonby. Cam, welcome to Colombo. England are fielding behind us here ahead of the ODI series. They've got a new fielding coach, not now though. He's taking over for the T20s, but a new drill for them. New year, new drills, as they say.
Very well. England lost the Ashes, which means everything has to start again. We need a new era. And they'll criticise for not kind of necessarily practicing their fielding that much across the Ashes series. So Carl Hopkinson, their old fielding coach, is going to be back in on a consultancy basis for the T20s, which start next week, and also for the World Cup. So at the moment, we've just got Marcus Trescothick and Jeetan Patel running a bit of a tea drill that you'll recognise from your local cricket club behind us. But I must admit, I've not seen them do too often.
So this is for the people on Twitter and YouTube who say they just play golf all the time. Look, they are fielding, guys. They are fielding. Whether they'll take their catches this series, they dropped 18 against India, 17 in the Ashes. That's where they need to improve. They also need to improve in ODI cricket because they've won 4 of 15.
It's 4 of their last 15,
and 3 of those were against a team ranked below them. So they need no better way to start than a new year here in Sri Lanka.
Well, it's one of those things with ODI cricket that because so often over the previous couple of years, there's always caveats next to the series, because when Joss Buttler and Matthew Mott were in charge, they didn't always have their strongest team, so they'd lose a series, you go, oh, that's okay, they didn't have kind of Harry Brook, or they didn't have Joe Root. But it's gone on for such a long period of time now, and also where they've had their full strength team, they had their full strength team in New Zealand and got rock and rolled 3-0, that all of a sudden it's still very unlikely they don't automatically qualify for the 2027 World Cup. But it is a thing they need to think about because they've lost 11 of their last 15, as we said. So, and if that run continues, well, then they are really in trouble of having to make sure that they don't get into the kind of the qualifiers for the World Cup. So all in all, England, 50 overs, bad. Not been good at it for a long time now. You
mentioned the New Zealand tour. As you can see behind us, the conditions are a lot different. The only same condition to New Zealand is the wind. I'm not sure if you can pick it up in your mics. It's incredibly windy here in Colombo. But England in ODI cricket, why do you think they've struggled? Is it the tempo? Is it getting the pace of the innings right? There's so much franchise cricket. Because you look at the T20 side, they've won 7 of their last 8. They posted 300 in a T20 less than 6 months ago. So they've got that sorted. But in the ODI cricket, they just seem to struggle.
I think there is a bit of a rule of life where you can't be good at something you can't be good at something you don't do. And I almost find it reassuring that England do struggle in this format a little bit because a lot of these guys don't have masses of experience playing it. I remember if we go back, take out your Joe Roots from this situation, he's played so much 50 over cricket.
He's quite good.
He can do whatever he wants. But I remember when we went to the West Indies just over a year ago now with talkSPORT, and we were chatting to Phil Salt, and England were having a bit of problems in the format then as well, and he was like, I don't get a chance to practice this format. The kind of old school thing where you go, well, it's 50 overs, it's just a longer T20. That's gone. No one says that anymore. They very much make the point that it's a distinct kind of format, distinct specialty that you need to be good at it in and of itself. That was a hell of a sentence. And England, because of the 100 and just the lay of the land naturally in the UK at the moment, these guys, if you are a good player on the way up, you just don't play any 50 over cricket.
And we have to stress it's not the players' fault that they don't play. It's the calendar. It is what it is. The 100 has been booked out for August. We can't really change that. Private investments come in now, so the chances of changing that anyway are gone. And England struggle in this format. But is this a big series for Harry Brook as well? As a captain, he's been in the job less than a year, but he's looking to put his stamp on it. He's got a huge 6 weeks with the T20 World Cup as well. But they are ultimately building to that ODI World Cup in South Africa in 18 months' time?
Well, it is a big series for Harry Brook. He got himself into a bit of trouble at the back end of the New Zealand series. It came out at the end of the Ashes that he was involved in an altercation with a bouncer the night before a match. And on your first England tour as England captain, to be out on the beers the night before a match and then have to turn yourself in for getting into a bit of a scuffle, I don't know what legally, if he got punched or whatever, I don't know. There are certain words we can and can't use. He needs to kind of regain, not control of this team, because I'm sure his team, he's such a talented cricketer, his team always are going to respect him, but he's got, as bizarre as this sounds, he's got a big day tomorrow, the day before the match, where he's going to have to front up to the press for the first time, and there are media outlets that are flying into Sri Lanka basically specifically for that. They're going to do the press conference, they're going to do the first match because they might as well because they're here, and they're flying home. So Harry Brook, I think he'll be very relieved when tomorrow is out of the way, because he's going to have to come in front of the microphone, come in front of the camera, kind of say sorry, and then he can start focusing on the cricket again.
And we are not those media outlets.
We're here the whole time.
The ODIs, the T20s, talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel will be here throughout the tour, just to stress that. But is this an important series for not only England, but the perception of England as well? Because after the Ashes, as you say, there's ultimately change. There's pressure on Brendan McCullum, huge pressure. So in terms of just getting that connection with the supporters back.
Yeah, do you remember this time a year ago, kind of Rob Key came out and he said that he wanted England just to kind of chill their boots a bit in the media. He wanted them to stop saying silly things. And I think they had kind of... I always regretted that he did that, to be honest, because I like when players say silly things. I think it's fun. Yeah. And then we've now gone through a year later. It seems got a little bit more, I don't know if boring's too the wrong word, basically. It matured a little bit. And now I think off the back of this, again, Harry Brook altercation, because England have got this reputation at the moment, deserved or not, of kind of being out on the beers, playing a bit of golf, winning solves everything. And if they can get some wins under the belt in the ODIs, have a positive World Cup, all of a sudden kind of the sins of the Ashes are forgiven a little bit, as it were, and there'll be the hard reset comes after the World Cup. We've been told, we know that McCullum's going to do the World Cup, and there's 3 months before they next play international cricket, and that's the period of time where kind of the important people are going to sit around and decide what happens next.
So looking at these 3 ODIs standalone, we've mentioned their record.
Yeah.
What are England looking to get out of this? Because, as I say, the ODI World Cup's in South Africa on hard, probably bouncier wickets than what we're expecting here in Colombo. So is this fine-tuned to a wider prep for the T20 World Cup? Because you look at Sri Lanka, they've brought in Dhananjaya in the hope that he'll get some form, get some rhythm ahead of the T20 series, then the World Cup. So how do they approach this 3-match series?
Truthfully, I think it's a case of win, calm the noise around the England team, just get some goodwill back on side and make sure everyone gets through fit, because the World Cup is ultimately the goal for this trip. There's a reason why the ODIs are being played first and the T20 second, is because the T20s are the climax of this trip. That's what people, where you're really wanting to find your form and build your momentum into the World Cup. So England, I think truthfully, if you really asked kind of Brendan McCullum deep down, are you happy you're playing these 3 ODIs? It's like these are probably in the way a little bit, because we've not been great at them as a format. We don't have a massive amount of goodwill around the team at the moment. There's a chance we could lose these. Okay, we're away, we're playing Sri Lanka in their home conditions. There's a chance England lose here. And if they do lose, then all of a sudden things are still getting worse before they have the chance to get better, basically. So I think England would be desperate to win the first ODI, just kind of nip some discourse and some narrative in the bud, make sure everyone's fit, and then build towards that T20 World Cup and try and put in a good showing there.
Are you surprised Joe's here after the Ashes? You know, would have had some time off.
No.
Danny Rubin next to us, the ultimate professional. He doesn't have
He's
time
here
off
everywhere.
After Ashes series, does he? Straight into the grind.
I'm not surprised, because these guys are professionals. Like, if you had a week off and you went back to work the following week,
what's one of them? What's a week off?
You've had a holiday. Of course, it's different. You're not on your own home for these guys. You're travelling around the world. Yes, it's a dream life, but the dream lives come with their own difficulties. I think because England had their struggles in Australia, and because they've been struggling so much in this format, they need to be putting their best team on the grid park as much as possible. For Joe Root, he'll play this week, he'll head off home, then he can have his long rest before the English summer, so I think that's okay.
And finally, before we wrap up, is it a big opportunity for these guys? Because Harry's one who he's spoken in the past, he wants to improve his 50-over cricket. He doesn't think he's been very good. He said that in New Zealand a day before, hitting that unbelievable innings in the first ODI. So maybe he should say it tomorrow. Keep the trend going, who knows? But you've got a chance here, all the young batters, to learn off probably one of the greatest batters of all time. Learn the tempo, watch the format. You saw Jacob Bethel come out in the Ashes say, I don't really understand Joe when it comes to batting, tongue or cheek or not. But this is the levels, and they've got an opportunity, while Joe's still here in the setup, to learn and be a sponge, absorb as much as you can off this greatness, essentially.
I think so. I think you've nailed it on the head there, where for the likes of Jacob Bethel, who won't have the opportunity to play domestic List A cricket back at home, it's 3 matches just to build that experience towards next year's World Cup. So when, as McCullum said to us in the New Zealand series where they'd lost all 3 of those matches, we haven't quite found the rhythm of this format. We're doing our best to do that, and so England having 3 more matches here, you've got Joe Root in town, the genius that he is. I'll be hoping that Jacob Bethel will be learning everything he can.
And so he should as well. Following on daily, we'll be back tomorrow. Harmy's here, by the way.
What a dream.
He arrived, came into my room today with his cases, lumped them on the floor, announced his arrival. He'll be back tomorrow.
Perfect.
We're here from Harry Brook as well. And don't forget, every ball of this white ball tour. 3 ODIs, 3 T20s, live and exclusive on talkSPORT 2 and the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel. We'll be back tomorrow for another Following On Daily.